Head in the clouds.
Hello everyone, welcome to Head in the Clouds. Two quick things. The first, I'm from the United States of America, so if you're from a different country or a different culture, the things that I say here, they may not apply the same for you. Number two, I am not a licensed professional. So what if I look good? A man's gotta keep fresh for his man. I am killing it on Instagram. You wish you were as popular as I am. Let's talk about narcissism. I know, everybody hates that word. I'm not really sure why though, because everybody is a little bit narcissistic sometimes. It's normal and it's healthy. Narcissism is simply a defense mechanism. It's a way that we use to cope against things. When we're talking about narcissism as a personality trait, we're talking about things like attention seeking or trying to get people to look at us and admire us and generally be focused on us. We're also talking about grandiosity, where we feel like we are above other people are below us. And we usually do these things because we're trying to avoid some kind of internal anxiety about ourselves. How do I look? Whatever, screw the haters. So here on Head in the Clouds, we talk about gay men and mental health, and today we're talking about 7 reasons why gay men are narcissistic. Before I get into that though, I just want to remind you that everybody can be narcissistic sometimes, gay, straight, whatever you identify as. And just because some gay men may be narcissistic, that doesn't mean that the entire population of gay men is always narcissistic. With that out of the way, the first reason why gay men are narcissistic has to do with trauma. Trauma is when we've experienced something that has threatened our lives, and typically we see trauma in the common person's everyday life in their childhood when they had a parent that was neglectful or abusive physically or emotionally. But gay men have other reasons to feel trauma, which could be severe bullying in school, for example, or they may experience some kind of violent assault on them in public. It could be that an intimate partner had them in a vulnerable position and attempted to rape them. Whatever the reason for the trauma, narcissism creeps in as a coping mechanism because when you had your life threatened, you want to feel like you had some kind of control over the situation. So what you will do is you will make yourself feel like you're above other people, that you're better, that you're in control, that nobody can ever hurt you. Or alternatively, you'll always be seeking reassurance from outside of you, from your parents, from your friends, from the general public. Maybe you go on social media and you try to get attention constantly because it fills you up and it makes you feel validated and it makes you feel like you don't have to explore those scary, complicated feelings that happen after trauma. Of course, if this is something that a gay man is having trouble with, they should go in and see a therapist to resolve it, because trauma is not something that's easy to deal with on our own, and it is something that a therapist who's been trained in trauma can help you with. Whatever, they're just jealous. The second reason why gay men are narcissistic is that they're trying to fit in. Gay men are a minority group that has historically been outcast, and we've been pushed away into not showing who we are and not being comfortable around the general population. So in reaction to being outcast, a lot of gay men will become narcissistic and attention-seeking to try to fit in, to try to feel like they have a place in the world. And you can kind of see the way that this plays out in gay culture, where there's certain ways that are acceptable to be gay, to fit in, and to assimilate into the rest of the gay male population. Oh my god, yes! The third reason why gay men may become narcissistic is because they have trouble with their identity. As I mentioned, the gay identity is typically not accepted within society, and when a gay man learns about their own sexual identity, there's a lot of difficulty with accepting it. Because of this, a lot of gay men go through a period where they suppress their identity, they don't feel quite comfortable with it, and they wrestle with the idea of whether they want to adopt this identity or not. And because of all of these uncomfortable feelings surrounding their identity, once they do decide that this is the way that they're going to identify, they may become reactionary to that uncomfortable feeling and become narcissistic. A gay man may feel like they need to overinflate their ego and be better than other people in order to be okay and comfortable with who they are. I'm gay and I'm not going away, so deal with it. The fourth reason that a gay man may become narcissistic is because they have to fit into different categories. What I mean by that is once you are a gay man and you get into the world of what it means to be a gay man, as I have myself, you learn quickly that there are a lot of different ways to identify yourself. It's no longer just being a gay man. It's what is your sexual position, what is your body type, what are you attracted to, what are you into, what are you looking for. There's all these different ways that we have to define ourselves and put ourselves into boxes, and this is perpetuated by the way that dating has been taken over by apps. We learn to put ourselves into boxes and to look for boxes in people instead of just seeing each other as human beings. Unfortunately, one of the byproducts of this is that when you're in one group, you start to clash with the other groups. If you're somebody who's more feminine, you may feel threatened by someone who is more masculine because you may feel like they take away from your identity. This constant clashing and competition between different categories of gay men may make them react in a way that's narcissistic. That culture of competition makes it feel like you have to be better than other people at all times so that you're not worse off. Jock looking for sub, bottom, twink. The fifth reason why gay men become narcissistic is because there's a culture that centers on the body image. This is related to all the dating apps and the way that we define ourselves when we're dating. A lot of gay men feel pressure like they have to conform to what the ideal man is. And as it stands today in our culture, we typically look at a man as somebody with a large body mass. They're into their body, they're strong, they're confident, and they walk around with this attitude and they don't give a shit about anyone else. And there's this expectation that that man is going to have a certain amount of hair on their body, they're going to have a certain amount of muscles in a certain proportion in different places. And that's what gay men strive to achieve. Now, this isn't every gay man, of course, but that culture encourages gay men to become narcissistic and focusing on their body and what kind of attention their body gets from other people. This also spills into a culture that I see in gay men where they focus so much on having sex and everything is about relating through sex. And of course, sex involves your body. And how do you attract people for sex? Typically, we attract them with our bodies. So all of this pressure to have a certain body image and to be focused on the way our face and our muscles and our shape and everything else looks can cause us to be narcissistic. Ooh, look at him, so hot. The sixth reason why gay men may become narcissistic is because there is a competition for partners. Again, I'm going to bring the dating apps into this. The dating apps pit us up against each other in different categories, and so we're always feeling like we have to compete with the other men in these different categories, and we have to attract somebody through our body. And that competition and that focus on the body and how we present ourselves in these apps makes us want to be better than everyone else. And if we feel inadequate in any way, that's especially going to make us narcissistic to try to overcompensate for those feelings of inadequacy. This problem, of course, is compounded by the fact that there are fewer gay and bisexual and other men who will sleep with men in the general population. There's just less men who are looking for love with men. This feeling of competition may be magnified if you happen to live in an area that's densely populated with gay men, like a city. Whatever, those other dudes got nothing on me. And the seventh reason why gay men may become more narcissistic is that there is a social pressure to become more masculine. And as I've already established, what we typically define as somebody who is masculine is somebody who's not in touch with their emotions, who's above their emotions. Men who are in touch with their emotions are seen as vulnerable, and we tend to see in our society men who are in touch with their emotions as being weak or pathetic or something, which is totally wrong, but it's the way we see things. So there's a lot of pressure for a man to be strong and to ignore our emotions, and gay men are no exception to this. That inability to feel vulnerability is what makes a gay man become narcissistic because, again, they try to be above their emotions and they try to be above other people. I will survive. Moving on. Being a gay man is hard, even with all the progress that we've made. The world can be scary when you have the real threat of violence in your life, and dating is complicated. You don't even have shelter in finding a partner, someone to love you. It's only natural when you live life this way that you want to put on a face to feel confident to the world. But softening up and feeling vulnerable and allowing for those weaknesses is what allows us to feel the beautiful emotions and colors in life and to connect with other people. Gay men, you deserve to lead rich and happy lives. Now, if you're someone who has trouble with narcissism, there's a good chance that you also have trouble with self-esteem. Over on my Patreon page, I've got some free worksheets on self-esteem you may want to look at. On Patreon, I get to support the people that I love doing work that they love, and I have some patrons, thank you patrons, who help me to humanize mental health and make videos like you're seeing here. If you'd like to learn more about gay men and mental health, why not head over to youtube.com/RyanLiberty, hit subscribe. Now, I'd love to hear from you, honest lastly, if you are a gay man and you feel like you've had some of these narcissistic tendencies in yourself, it's okay to admit it. Why not share down below why you think you behave that way? I would like to know, and I think the community as a whole could benefit a lot from talking about these things. Thank you everybody for joining me here on Head in the Clouds. You liked this video, right? I did good?